Hey there, and welcome to my YouTube channel. So let's start with the most important question. Why would you watch this video? And this video is for you if you fear failure, if fear of failure is stopping you from, doing something more significant with your life, jumping on that bold idea that you might have. Usually it's connected with people wanting to become entrepreneurs, but it can also apply to other parts of your life. So if you already leveled up and you see failure for what it really is, an amazing opportunity for learning and growth, then this video probably is not for you. But if the fear of failure is stopping you, preventing you from doing stuff, or if you have some negative emotions attached to how you view failure, then I think you should really watch this video. So let's start with a little bit of backstory before we dive into what I have on my iPad. Back in 2009, I had a massive business crash. I lost $20 million, roughly $20 million in really just one single day. I ended up a little bit shy of $5 million in personal debt. And I got depressed, I got anxiety, I had suicidal thoughts that later turned into suicidal attempts. And it was a really difficult period of my time. That was in December 2009, and it lasted until spring 2010, with the last suicide attempt when I had the aha moment. So now, what was the aha moment? Well, the thing was that before, I always found somebody or something outside of me to blame for whatever happened to me. So the bad stuff, I always found something else to blame or someone else to blame. And on that moment on the balcony, and if you want to hear a longer story, then just Google my name. I've done many podcasts. I don't want to bother you with too many details here, and I talk about that very openly, and about how it led to that and what happened afterwards and so on. But let's stick to the topic. So I had the aha moment that it really wasn't anybody else's fault. I made stupid decisions. I chose wrong people. I went for things that a normal person probably wouldn't go for, or at least they would, hire a lawyer or something who would help them to mitigate certain risks. I was over leveraged, and so on and so on. So there was a whole bunch of things that really were all my fault. And the aha moment was, okay, so if all of that was my fault, then I can actually learn from it. I can actually figure out what I did wrong. I can actually learn what I can do differently next time so that I can get at least different outcome, hopefully a much more successful one. Then what I started doing was going back in my head and documenting all the different failures that happened to me in the past. But I didn't stop at just documenting them. I started figuring out, okay, so this is what happened. What lessons can I learn? What could I have done differently in that moment? And so on. And I made this structure that many years later I started calling Failure Journal. And the powerful thing about Failure Journal is that once you figure out how much value is in those things that happened to me that I considered failures, you start looking at them from a completely different point of view. My mindset completely changed, and I was actually happy that all of those things happened to me because I saw how I grew so much because of all of that, how I progressed so much because of that. And suddenly, failure was no longer something to be emotional about in a negative way. Failure suddenly became something like, oh, wow, I need to, fail fast and fail more and grow more. And the more I fail, the faster I will achieve success. So it completely shifted in my head how I started to view failure. And then, fast forward a few more years after my startup and the exit, I fell into this whole coaching consulting thing. It wasn't intentional. I wasn't like, oh, I want to become a coach. It really just happened. And I will talk about that in some other video where I'll share a bit more of my story. But the thing was, I saw many entrepreneurs who were dealing with that same stuff when it came to their own failures. And I would be like, well, how about we do what I did? And they started doing it. And they also saw similar results. And it also helped them shift how they view failure and help them to learn and make massive changes and improve their personal life, their business life massively. And so at some point I created the Failure Journal. And if you want, you can find it on any Amazon, I think. And I think it ships worldwide. But we'll get to that. Well, maybe we could do this first. So let me swipe here. So basically, what you do, you go to whatever Amazon is closest to you. And here where you have search, just type in my surname, Matlievski. Well, this is what you'll find. Well, we do have my podcast that I'm not doing anymore. This was long time ago, but it's still up there. So if you want to go ahead and listen to some episodes, feel free to do it. But what we have here is two versions, a bigger and a smaller one of Failure Journal, paperback, hardcover, and hardcover. Yeah, the big one didn't make sense to make it paperback because it's just too big. But you don't have to buy that. But by all means, go ahead if you want to. But what I'm gonna show you now here, how do I shift here? Oh, okay, like this. You just go the same direction. I'm still learning stuff. I mean, I'm in Apple ecosystem for so many years and I'm still learning every day. So this is how the whole thing looks like. Oh, I need this. And let's pick a nice color, red. And what's the size? Size is good. Okay, so this is how, shit. Why is it not allowing me to draw here? Okay, whatever. I guess I can't draw on pictures. So this is how the whole thing looks like if you buy it. But what I do have here is PDFs. That's essentially what you send to Amazon to print it out. And if you just want the PDF, the easiest thing, go to LinkedIn, find me there. That's really the only platform where you will really talk to me personally. Send me connection request. Just type in, what's that called? When you send a connection request with a message or something like that, just type in Failure Journal or Journal. That way I will know that that's why you're connecting with me, because I don't think I can send you files if we are not connected. And then I'll just send you this PDF. You can print it out. I would suggest that you do this pen paper style and not, typing on computer. But if you want to type. But there is something to actually sitting down somewhere in peace. For me, it's usually somewhere next to water. I really love water. I love nature. It calms me down. It relaxes me. I get into that zone and really just start writing. And it doesn't have to be super structured writing. I mean, I already provide some structure here. It's really getting things out and not focusing on the form, but focusing on the content that you put out. And this will help you, and then you can keep this, and maybe it will be a nice, I don't know, 18th birthday gift for your kids or your grandchildren or something. Like, look how daddy fucked up. That's what I'm gonna say. So yeah, I'm still keeping mine. It's not done this way. I just bought a Moleskine notebook and I started writing in it, but I'm still keeping it. So on the first 2 pages, you have some instructions on what to do. But then, so what we do here is, can I write on this? Oh, now this I can. And why did this just happen? Oh, yeah, okay. So it's basically a 2 pages per 1 failure. So first, you have this area here where you try to describe the failure in as much details as possible. That's the first thing. Then we go to reflections. How do I minimize this? Oh, auto minimize. Yay! Okay, I'm getting better. And then, I'm helping you here with a few questions. What were your expectations prior to this event? Because many times the failure is really a result of failed expectations, because we expect things that are outside of our control. I'll give you an example. Let's say you're doing sales. What you can control is how you do sales conversation. The better you become, the more conversions will happen. But what you can't control is the outcome. If the client will say yes or no, or maybe you jumped on a call with a wrong client who can't afford your product or your service. And then, you have to dig into your marketing stuff and see why you are attracting wrong potential clients, and maybe tweak something there. So focusing on the stuff that's absolutely completely in your control or in control of your business, that's one thing. But then setting up expectations, especially when we don't have some good historical data. So if you're in business for 15 years and you have 15 years of historical data on your marketing and sales performance, if you've captured that data, then that's a whole different thing. You can, predict stuff. There can still happen things like, Corona or something like that, but that can fuck up everything. But, you can make certain predictions. But if you're very new in business, or if you never captured that data, then it's very hard to make those predictions. So you're basing your expectations on something that's completely outside of your control. That can happen. And then when we don't achieve the goal, then, oh, I failed. So that's one thing we need to get clear on. How did this failure affect your feelings about yourself, your abilities, or your situation? Let's explore a little bit that part. I know, if you're a man, you think you don't have feelings. We still do. We just maybe don't show them, express them the way women do. But we are still human beings. We still have feelings. So dig in there. Might not be easy, but I invite you to dig a little bit deeper and figure that out. How might this failure be seen as an opportunity in disguise? Like I said, you learned something, you grew from something, you figured out what doesn't work, so maybe the next thing will work, and so on. So I'm guiding you here to try to do some solid reflection of whatever the failure was. And then, then we go to next page, if I can get to it. Oh, okay. We have 2 more questions for reflection. What was out of your control in this situation? What aspects could you have influenced? So it's really important that we really logically think, what are the things that we controlled in that situation? And what are the things that were outside of our control? Mark Zuckerberg woke up one day and changed an algorithm for, I don't know, Facebook or Instagram, or Apple changed, that thingy for email deliveries, or that thingy for Facebook pixel and stuff, and sharing of the data in the between apps. Good thing if you're a consumer, bad thing if you are a business that relied on that. But you can't change what Tim Cook and the gang came up with. You can't change, what Mark did. So being really clear on what was in your control and what wasn't, that will help us later on with the lessons learned. And the last question, if you were to be in a similar situation again, what would you do differently? Now that some time has passed, emotions wear off, you can really look at the thing logically. What would you do differently? And time passed. You've learned some new stuff, and you have new knowledge that you didn't have back then. And now you can look at it from a different lens, and it will give you like amazing insights and amazing ideas. Now, then we come to lessons learned. So what are the key lessons that I learned? And then the most important part, I mean, they're all important, but this one is really important, is what future actions can I do so that I don't experience that failure again? Can I do something next time when I'm I don't know, like for example, so I went into a huge real estate project and I didn't have lawyers look through things because I was just too cocky and I thought I can do that myself. So now, every time when I have to do something, not even similar, but something that can have legal implications, I'm not doing shit without consulting with a very high, good quality lawyer. I ain't doing shit. And that was a huge lesson. And when you do it this way, you mitigate the risk tremendously. I mean, you can still get sued left and right, especially in the US, that feels like a sport. Thankfully, I'm not in the US, where anybody can just sue anybody. But it will be much harder if you took care of the legalities in the right way. Or, maybe I failed at achieving the goal of losing weight. Well, what are some steps that I can start doing from today or from tomorrow? And stuff like that. So this doesn't have to be just your business failures, but it could be about all of the things that you consider failures. I mean, there's like 200 pages in this failure journal. So that means you can attack 100 failures if you buy the book. And then, if you run out of those 100 pages, then, you can just buy another one, or again, you can just connect with me on LinkedIn and I'll send you the PDF. But just recently, so hear me out. I know this lady who was really deep in e-commerce, drop shipping and stuff. She did a lot of trial and error and testing and so on. And by the time she found what works, she was just so exhausted. And then a few personal things came up, family planning and stuff. And she was just like, I'm done with it. And then, after the whole maternity thing and everything, she was, okay, I'm still an entrepreneur by heart. I might not want to start another e-commerce store, even though I could, but I could help others. And I was like, well, you know what? Here's the PDF. Take a few weeks and just write down all of the failures and all of the lessons. This will literally give you so much of knowledge and experience. It will be compacted into this PDF, and it's worth thousands to some people, because you spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars experimenting, testing, trying, and so on, and to somebody who's just starting out, to not do the mistakes, the stuff that you did, I mean, it's priceless. It's literally priceless. So it can, shift your whole career path in maybe some other direction. Just like, look at me. Like, I'm not, I'm not, college graduate from Harvard Business School. I dropped out of high school. And I don't have this theoretical knowledge. I don't have gazillion coaching, consulting licenses and so on. But a lot of entrepreneurs reach out to me and they want to work with us because I have real life experience. I've tried so many things. I failed at a huge amount of them. Thankfully, the few successes outweighed all of the failures. But they actually appreciate it. They appreciate that I went through the trenches, that I know how they feel, that I know what they're trying to do, and I know what didn't work for me, and I can help them with that. So, who knows? Maybe you will go on a similar path as well. So yeah, I don't want to make this video way too long unnecessarily. I'm not gonna ask you, like, subscribe and all of that stuff. Feel free to do it if you want. What I would love to ask you, if you came all the way to the end, is to give me feedback. You can give me feedback in comments, or like I said, if you want to talk to me directly, LinkedIn would be absolutely the best way. Because I really want to make these videos as valuable to you as possible. I want to address topics that you care about, that you are interested in, that stuff that's happening on your entrepreneurial journey. And I would really, really just love to help in any way I can. And so if you can share in the comments or on LinkedIn your feedback, your questions, that would really mean the world to me. And with that, this is Failure Journal. This is how you can process your past failures, have huge aha moments while doing it, and shift how you view failure, and look at it from a very positive angle, because failure really is a very positive thing. It's a blessing in disguise. You just have to shift how you look at it. Okay, that's it for today, for this video. Well, I hope, we see each other on some of the future videos, or I hope we connect on LinkedIn. Take care. Bye.